Hello and welcome to race day 4. We are in Australia for our last of the consistency races for the year. But before we get to Australia, we're going to start off with supercarts and show the premiere of Belgium's track, which is Genk, which will be a good change of pace. It's always good to have new maps in the pool. And Zun's done a really great job of creating a few of those tracks for the carts. Graffiti Squid out to an early lead in these qualifying laps, even though Puff does have a solid position behind him. Oftentimes these races will come down to whoever has the final push right at the end, as we see Can You Take Me Higher charging at the end. And Woody Guthrie says, no, that's my charge. But yeah, one thing that you'll notice about Genk is it's a little bit larger track for supercarts than we're used to, so it's going to be great. Average lap time about between 38 and 40 seconds, which is pretty good. I think typically they're usually 30 seconds or less, so looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Congratulations to Graffiti Squid on getting that bonus point. Get the qualifying position. Keep our eyes on the majority of the whole horde just to see how bulk cars react on this track, as Julian O'Sullivan and Graffiti Squid are battling back and forth between the two. Julian O'Sullivan opting for those soft tires, one of the few people in this field, as we see hards to be the majority, followed by mediums, and then 5 members on soft. Woody Guthrie doing a solid job holding that third position, followed by Puff the second, Trey Daniels in 5th. Can You Take Me Higher in 6th, and Bob Jenkins also of John Deere Racing. Julian O'Sullivan will make the first pit of the race, as well as other soft tire users, giving Graffiti Squid an early, edge. And then Woody Guthrie is on those mediums, is holding into second as he goes off into the grass, and Can You Take Me Higher makes the easy pass. Graffiti Squid out to a big 3-second gap, which is very abnormal for supercarts, which is just goes to say, as all of them go to pit, and Julian O'Sullivan is back to resuming that lead. He will likely pit one more time. I imagine all of these racers will pit 3 total times. Keep an eye on the groups, as Julian O'Sullivan and Graffiti Squid kind of have their own separation. If they get closer to each other or closer to the pack, we'll pan back over them, but for now we'll keep an eye on where everyone's close in passing. Can You Take Me Higher in that 3rd spot, moving past Woody Guthrie, and Bob Jenkins and Trey Daniels battling for that 6th spot. Trey Daniels passing Bob Jenkins or getting some separation. Having that 6th position be more certain. Puff is closing the gap on Woody Guthrie. And Julian O'Sullivan goes in for goes in for another pit. I thought it was going to be his last pit of the race, but he opted for softs, and a few more pit stops than advertised and expected for this one. Good to see. Puff second, working in tandem with Julian O'Sullivan, as Julian O'Sullivan makes up major ground on Graffiti Squid, despite having probably a 5-second gap between each other. Can You Take Me Higher and Bob Jenkins working really well together, as Bob Jenkins is on some very worn tires, and Woody Guthrie in 6th. Trey Daniels just ahead of Bo Lind in 8th, and they're about 5 seconds behind Woody Guthrie, which Woody Guthrie did just pass Puff the Second, who pit, and Bob Jenkins. And Julian O'Sullivan has had a whirlwind of a past lap or two, giving himself a 5-second lead on Graffiti Squid. Puff the Second knocking Woody Guthrie into the grass median and taking a firm 4th spot. Bolin in 8th, just gets passed by Caleb Hayden, as Caleb Hayden was made the move on him as Bolin was coming out of the pits. Can You Take Me Higher doing a great job of having late charges, as Julian O'Sullivan and Graffiti Squid make their final pits. It'll be really interesting to see how Take Me Higher performs. If Julian O'Sullivan, who's done the frequent soft tire pits, has a lap anywhere similar to his 6th lap of the race, he will retake that first position. With how Can You Take Me Higher is going a little bit slower, it's only a matter of time for Julian O'Sullivan to pass. Can You Take Me Higher actually opting in for a pit stop for the final lap? I think that makes sense. He would have likely gotten passed by the rest of the cohorts had he not pit, and would have likely fallen back beyond 5th place. Julian O'Sullivan is likely going to be the race winner. Graffiti Squid and Puff battling out. Puff the Second really pushing these tires to stretch. And Can You Take Me Higher has moved up into that 4th position, battling with Woody Guthrie. Bob Jenkins right behind. Bolin. Yeah. So Julian O'Sullivan is the winner, followed by Graffiti Squid. Puff the Second will charge, maintaining that position on Can You Take Me Higher, taking 4th. Woody Guthrie in 5th. Bob Jenkins in 6th. Trey Daniels in 7th. Bo Lind in 8th. With a very close finish. And then Caleb Hayden right behind the Grower Bot in 10th. Lord Farquaad just outside of the top 10. Julian O'Sullivan, to no surprise, had the fastest lap. Like we mentioned earlier, he had a wicked, I believe, 6th or 7th lap. And he just had a great race strategy of staying on soft tires and changing tires quickly to not lose time. And it was great for them. Race 4. Alright, now we'll move to Formula 3. We are in Australia. We do have slight inclement weather. Not actually to the point where we need the adjusted attributes, but we do have some rain for Formula 2 today. For Australia. Just double checking, making sure everything's good. Really fun with Australia, seeing the pit on the inside. Hopefully we won't have any sort of problems going into there. Crash test dummy out to an early lead, or a hot start for the qualifying lap, giving probably about 8 car lengths between him and Jackson Kyle in second. Victory and Nash DePaulo are charging though, narrowing the gap down. And congratulations to Crash Test Dummy. We'll get that pole position with Jackson Kyle right behind. Jackson Kyle's out to an early lead, passing Crash Test Dummy. Victory right in third. Nash DePaulo in fourth. Matthew Mayhem having a phenomenal showing, moving up into that third position. A. Jobin following Nash DePaulo in that sixth spot, back and forth with Dan Ortiz. But also holding up Ryan Gosling as Ryan Gosling makes some moves. Fillmore Carlin ninth and Annie Skywalker in 10th off the block. This track is a very cool track. I love the water features. So we have quite some contention for the first 3 spots. Multiple packs. Battle back and forth between Jackson Kyle and Crash Test Dummy and Victory. Dan Ortiz acting as a bridge between the pack of Jobin, Nash DePaulo, and Matthew Mayhem in that 5th through 7th. Annie Skywalker in 8th with Fillmore Carlin and Ryan Gosling. We also have Yu-Gi-Oh! In 11th, Carl Barca in 12th, who's done a really good job on these hards. James Dion in 13th, Villanueva in 14th, Carpita in 15th, making the early pits of the race, and Quick Draw McGraw actually moving up into 15th. Ryan Gosling getting pushed off the track by Nash DePaulo as avoid conflict on these pretty worn tires, third of the race through, up in that third position. However, he does probably have about an 8-second difference between him and, I want to say, 10th, and he's yet to pit. So that third position will be short-lived. Same with Nash DePaulo. Victory really pushing his medium tires, going the full 5. We'll get that pit as well as Nash DePaulo, and Jackson Kyle will pass him on some fresh softs, followed by Fillmore Carlin and Victory will remain in that third position. Tandem of Alpiner, Jobin, and Nash DePaulo have done a great job of staying together through most of the race as Nash DePaulo goes off into the perimeter. Ryan Gosling holding that 10th spot, like I mentioned before, and then Annie Skywalker in 11th, faltering behind. Jackson Kyle, your clear leader at this point in the race, about 2.5 seconds in front of Crash Test Dummy and Victory as the cars start to separate there. Matthew Mayhem and Yu-Gi-Oh! Continue to battle back and forth with each other, which I could see that. Oh, all right, Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes me eat my words and immediately goes for a pit with relatively unfazed tires. And Tapala moves up into 5th. Annie Skywalker stuck on the bumper of Fillmore Carlin. And just waiting his time for a good passing opportunity. But halfway through the race, Crash Test Dummy and Victory back and forth with Jackson Kyle as well. And Nash Apollo has made his way up into that top 5. Well, top 3 at this point. And Ryan Gosling is also made moves back into that top 5 after we see quite a few of those people ahead of him pit. Jackson Kyle is your current race leader with the 2-second gap on Nash DePaulo and Crash Test Dummy, right behind Nash DePaulo. Ryan Gosling in that 4th spot with Victory on some fresh hard tires, which will likely be looking to push the rest of the race. Darren Ortiz in 6th, which has been really great to see. Ice Cube Gaming stay and be a consistent name in this top 10. For drivers at the start of the season for him. I look forward and am hopeful that he stays this way when we get shifts to the different styles of tracks. Matthew Mayhem doing a solid job staying in 8th, Yu-Gi-Oh! In 10th, and then Carl Barca in 11th with Annie Skywalker right behind, or back and forth with each other as Carl Barca took a pit stop. Ozline gets pushed off onto the side, making sure that he doesn't incur a penalty, letting Kyle and Crash Test Dummy pass with ease, which is quite abnormal. Crash Test Dummy finds his space to make a move post-pit on Jackson Kyle and will have position of first. Victory about 6.5 seconds behind Jackson Kyle. A lot of ground to make up with 3 laps remaining. And A. Jobin in 4th right behind him on his heels. Darren Ortiz in 6th with Nash DePaulo right in front of him. The back and forth. And then Fillmore Carlin in 10th. Half a second or right on the bumper of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Jackson Kyle and Crash Test Dummy are race leaders. Do pit with 2 laps remaining. Opting for these softs, and they did remain that 1st and 2nd position. They will likely be your front 2 unless there is some sort of charge for Victory or A. Jobin. That'll get them back into that conversation. It is only a half-second difference between the 2. A. Jobin recruiting himself from the battle for first, opting to pit stop with a lap and a half to go, which I think is a very good move. And Ryan Gosling as well, as they look to maintain point positions. Crash Test Dummy is your current leader with 1 lap to go, as he is a 1.5 seconds ahead of Jackson Kyle. And Victory is a 1.5 seconds behind Kyle. And Nash DePaulo is 1 second behind Victory. Kyle is looking to charge have a late second charge, being 3/4 of a second behind Crash Test Dummy, but it looks like Crash Test Dummy will take the checker flag with Jackson Kyle right behind. Victory will spit into the grass, but take an easy, comfortable third. Nash DePaulo will take 4th, and Jobin of Alpiner will take 5th. Matthew Mayhem will take 6th. Dare Mertis will take 7th. Yu-Gi-Oh! 8th. And Ryan Gosling will take 9th. And Fillmore Carlin will round out your top 10. Annie Skywalker just on the bubble position. Crash Test Dummy with the fastest lap. Congratulations. Getting maximum points for that race. Now we are moving into Formula 2. We had some improvements today. Hot Wheels Racing, congratulations on being the first car to a 10 in speed. Yeah. We'll see how it impacts today's race. Formula 2 did have some rain. %. So things may get a little sticky and have quite a few tire changes as a result. Really interesting to see, even for the qualifying lap, all of these drivers opting for either wets or intermediates with just 25% chance. Very surprising to me. Stumpy Jones is out to an early lead with Ambrose Rove and Lady Driver right behind. But yeah, the first half of the laps don't really matter too much. It's all about that last second charge. As Paul Hude makes his move up to the first position. And Marky Mark Martin takes some space. So, Lady Driver will be your qualifying lap leader, with Marky Mark Martin in 2nd and Stumpy Jones in 3rd. In 4th, Duhamel in 5th, Rove in 6th, Scudmuff 7th, Dale Gordon Jr. 8th, Horatio Sinclair 9th, and Scott Pilgrim in 10th. We start with wet tires and wet rain for, well, of course, rain is wet. And Marky Mark Martin will take an early lead as Stumpy Jones gets on the inside, and Paul Hude takes one of the cleaner lines you can have, giving himself a full second advantage a quarter of the lap through, which is really impressive. Sun comes out. We'll see how long it'll take before all of our racers will switch off of these wet tires. This track is pretty damp, as it has been raining for a while, and Dale Gordon Jr. and Miguel Duhamel will look to pass Stumpy Jones to take 3rd and 4th. Quite contentious right here, as Stumpy Jones just phases through Dale Gordon Jr. Very bizarre right there. But Lady Driver out in first, Stumpy Jones in third, with Paul Hughes in second, Miguel Duhamel in fourth, Dale Gordon Jr. going off into the grass, losing a spot to Marky Mark Martin, Ambrose Rove in seventh, Scott Pilgrim in eighth, Horatio Sinclair in ninth, and then Stephen Toast in 10th. Scud Muffin, don't know what happened to him off the bat. It looks like he ran into the wall and took a tremendous amount of damage. Be really interesting to see what happened to him, as I'm pretty sure he had a way quicker qualifying time than that. There's the battle for first between Lady Driver and Paul Hughes. As this track has become quite dry, I definitely expect a few. Yeah, we see the changeover from wets to medium and hards from our 10 through 15 drivers. So it's only a matter of time for the pits to change for these guys. Marky Mark Martin in fourth, Ambrose Rove in fifth, and Scott Pilgrim in sixth. Kind of as a horde, as they all are 1 through 6 drivers, 1 through 7th, all are opting out or switching off of these wet tires and moving for a different change of tires. Lady Driver opting for these hard tires as Paul Hughes and Stumpy Jones go for softs. Dale Gordon Jr., Marky Mark Martin, Ambrose Rove, and Scott Pilgrim opt for medium tires, and those were sequentially the places for 4 through 7. Well, there is a forecast for another order of rain, and four on are all switching to those different tires. Paul Hughes, Stumpy Jones, and Lady Driver. The memo or the rule just came out right after they passed the pits, so we'll see if they can get a lot of. There's become huge separation as a result between the top 3 drivers and then 4 on. But they ought to go. They actually choose to stay on their existing tires, which I think is a interesting decision by these 3 racers. This gives a great opportunity for 4 through 20 to catch up, maybe make up some ground, or maybe since it was 25% chance of rain, they just have the foresight to just go the distance. Yeah, like I mentioned before, Hugh Driver and Stumpy Jones are all battling in that, and there is a 2-second difference between that group of 1 through 3 and then everyone else. Ambrose Rove opting to keep those enters on and will take 4th. It'll be interesting to see if they maintain or if that helps them in the long run. Short term, it gives them a 5-second lead on the 5th place, Marky Mark Martin, and Dale Gordon Jr. in 6th. Good to see Zoom Zoom Igo Quick make the moves up, as well as Sisyphus Cuddles and Scud Muffin. Like I mentioned earlier, they had taken a little bit of a backseat, incurring some sort of damage earlier. Hugh gets passed by Stumpy Jones, and Lady Driver on those hards, like I mentioned earlier, is sitting a comfortable second behind Paul Hughes. Scott Pilgrim, Ambrose Rove, and Horatio Sinclair are all clustered together in that 8 through 10. Something about seeing teammates work together just makes me happy. Lady Driver actually charges. Stumpy Jones and Paul Hughes went to get fresh tires. Lady Driver, 4 seconds ahead, remained on those hards, giving her about a 3.5 second lead on Paul Hughes, who opted for those soft tires. And Marky Mark Martin passing Stumpy Jones similarly on those hard tires. Miguel Duhamel in 5th. It's good to see a lot of these racers catching up to that 1 through 3 that I mentioned earlier by that really weird weather read timing. Horatio Sinclair making some moves on Scott Pilgrim as Horatio Sinclair moves into 7th. Lady Driver just continues her lead as they go into the pit. Will likely be passed by Paul Hude, but will also have Lady Driver come out at a similar time as Stumpy Jones. Stumpy Jones with a slight second and a half gap over Lady Driver, and Miguel Duhamel right after Lady Driver. It's been a great track today with a lot of passing opportunities, pretty much constantly. As Marky Mark Martin almost got careened into I don't even know if that's word. Corralled into the pit with a last-second move out. A battle between Hude and Jones, very close. Lady Driver, like I mentioned before, just having slight separation from those tires. We have the forecast for rain, and we have, again, the first 3 racers, 1 through 3, continue to go out, which I think is really, really advantageous for them. Particularly Paul Hude being on those slightly worn softs. I think this gives him a great opportunity to tie in a natural tire change with the switch for the tires. This really may be a bummer for Lady Driver if they do opt to go towards a pit stop, which Paul Hude and Stumpy Jones do opt for. Lady Driver as well. So yeah, all rain for everyone or all pit stops for everyone, and switch to those wet tires. As we are in lap 15 of 24. This did give Marky Mark Martin and Scott Pilgrim an opportunity to catch back up. It was really advantageous for Scott Pilgrim to get him up into that 5th position when the rain called. Stumpy Jones is the current leader, as he was the first out of the pit from those first 3. Marky Mark Martin passing Lady Driver. And Horatio Sinclair and Ambrose Rove continue to remain in that 7 through 8 position with Sisyphus Cuddle right behind them. Like I mentioned earlier, Sisyphus Cuddle has done a great job considering where they've been and where the races are. As I say that, Lady Driver careens past both Max and Marky Mark Martin as they both go into the grass, and she gets a very, very clean exit out of that turn. Sisyphus Cuddle moving up into that 7th spot. Really done a great job. I believe this is his... had to have moved up at least 6 spots, which is really impressive during a race of 17 laps so far. Ambrose Rose makes the pass on Sisyphus Cuddles. Check and see where everyone is. Track is still a little bit wet, but it is drying out. I fully expect the next pass a lot of these racers to switch on to soft tires to finish the race out, as they have been on these wet tires for quite a while. It'll be really interesting to see if any of these drivers opt to try and keep it going. Ambrose Rove actually switched to these medium tires, and like I mentioned before, speak of the devil, all of these top 3 racers are switching into fresh tires. Paul Hughes is going to be the... Alright, Stumpy Jones, Lady Driver, and Paul Hughes leave the pit in that order. Lady Driver will take the inside lane and have the lead going into... As I mentioned that, Stumpy Jones, that lead was very short-lived. Marky Mark Martin and Dale Gordon Jr. 4th and 5th. Scott Pilgrim in 6th. Lady Driver goes off the track, and Paul Hughes seizes his opportunity to take the 2nd spot. Stumpy Jones remains in that 4th spot. Dale Gordon Jr., Scott Pilgrim battling it out for 5th. Ambrose Rove, Sisyphus Cuddle, and Horatio Sinclair in 7th through 8th, and then Miguel Duhamel a 2nd behind that. Lady Driver getting pinned between Steven Toast and Nico Shiftwell, holding her up and really not giving her an opportunity to catch up to the first 2 racers. Quite a shame. I really hate to see when drivers don't give the right away to other drivers in front of them, and it just really makes for boring racing. Paul Hughes charges past Stumpy Jones, giving him a 2.5 lead with a lap and a half remaining. Lady Driver, continuing to get stuck behind other drivers, has allowed Marky Mark Martin to get into that 1st position. Scott Pilgrim in 5th, and then Ambrose Rove and Sisyphus Cuddle battling back and forth. Paul Hughes with a comfortable 2-second gap between him and 2nd. Looking like a great race for him. As we'll follow our leader a little bit. Okay. Back and forth between Marky Mark Martin and Lady Driver. I'm going to pan over to the 1st place as Paul Hughes crosses and takes the checkered flag. Stumpy Jones will take 2nd. Marky Mark Martin will take 3rd. Lady Driver in 4th. Scott Pilgrim in 5th with Dale Gordon Jr. in 6th. Sisyphus Cuddle currently in 7th. And Ambrose Rove will take 8th. And Horatio Sinclair will take 9th. Miguel Duhamel will round out your top 10. What a battle, what a long race. Congratulations, Paul Hughes. Really turning it up there at the end of the race, having a very fast finish. All right, we will go to Formula One. Formula One. Nothing too crazy or differences between these drivers and racers. Main difference is 2 laps and, or sorry, 2 qualifying laps and 34 laps instead of 24. All right. Time for the main event. I'm going to let the qualifying lap do its thing, give my voice a little bit of a rest. Congratulations to Randall Devil, Valpiner, continuing his dominance, getting another fastest lap. Tessimmer will pass Alex Albono early as Albono's path takes him into the grass. Harrison Andrews in 4th, Pierre Dadley in 5th. And this horde of Burkhart, Venegas, Castillo Angelic, Streak, Pete Savage, Pastor Maldonado in that 5 through 11. We do have 2 clear packs forming after just 1 lap, with Alex Albono in 1st, Harrison Andrews and Randall Devil in 2nd and 3rd, Tessimmer in 4th, Pierre Dadley in 5th, and then Xavi Venegas in 6th, as they kind of bleed together a little bit. And then in that 8th on, we have Maldonado, Mueller, Castillo Angelic. But yeah, there's a lot of racing to still be had. We start to see our first pits of the race come out, as Alex Albano ends up opting for one of the earlier pits. We currently have Tessimmer with a 2-second lead over Xavi Venegas. Pastor Maldonado in 3rd, Pierre Dadley in 4th. Burkhart and Andrews battling for the 5th position. Streak in 7th, Devil in 8th, and then Zena de la Torre and Mamma Mia battling for position with Castillo Angelic in that 10th position for points. Quite an entertaining group, Mamma Mia, de Torre, and Castillo Angelic, as they keep finding themselves off the track, just battling for those positions. Alex Albano charging back, post tire position, as well as Maldonado as well. to get back in that top group of the pack. Zavi Venegas in first, and then Dadley and Devil in second and third. As I say that, Devil passes Dadley. Always manages to find himself towards the front of the group. Ronald Devil will finally take his first pit stop of the race, as we still have Tess Simmer and Pastor Maldonado in first and second, respectively, with Zavi in third. Harrison Andrews making moves past Alex Burkhart to take fourth, with Pierre Dadley in sixth. There's about a third of the way through the race. A little bit less passing than the previous one. Maybe not less passing, but more space between each racer and car, generally. As we do have our own unique groups with passing opportunities. Zavi making the moves past Pastor Maldonado. Funnily enough, he passes him right as the turbo wears out, and almost looked like he slammed on the brakes in front. Bobby Brooks has worked his way up into that top 10. Contending for 7th, actually. As I say that, he goes into the pit. I do like the decision from Tess Simmer and Zavi to opt for these hard tires. Randall Devil did something similar, going hard to hard. Will significantly reduce the chance of them to have an extra pit stop. Zavi's done a great job to give himself plenty of a gap between second place, opening up a 6-second window between him and Tess Simmer. I fully foresee Zavi getting some fresh tires next lap. But in the meantime, this is a great opportunity for Tess Simmer to close the margin between the two of them and ultimately get some ground. Randall Devil has done a phenomenal job getting up into this 4th position, which has been really, really impressive, even just on these 2 sets of tires. It's wild just seeing Devil always at the top consistently. Had quite a prolific career so far. Zavi actually opting to not switch off for the fresh set of tires and has allowed Tess Simmer to get within a second of him after having a lead of 6 seconds. Harrison Andrews is up into 3rd place with about 8 seconds behind Tess Simmer, who is charging on Xavi Venegas. Tess Simmer senses the opportunity to close down the gap, and Xavi goes into the pit after the damage is done. We'll see how if Xavi finds himself close to Andrews after coming out of the pit. Andrews actually goes in the grass, and that's huge news for Xavi, killing a lot of Andrews' speed, and then Pierre Dadley passing Devil. Devil, similarly to Xavi, opted to maintain those hard tires for as long as possible, giving a window to the competitors behind him to put Devil back into that 8th position and beyond. Andrews looking to not repeat the mistake of his teammate, opts to make his pit stop as Xavi Venegas gets caught on Marcel and late for bingo. As Xavi is 8 seconds behind Tess Simmer. They are pretty neck and neck. Tess Simmer will likely have one more tire change. I hope he probably will take a tire change around lap 28 and go softs to softs. And we'll have fresh softs for the pretty much the entire race. I think that is a great play to have, as Xavi on kind of these fresher hard tires may be willing to go the entire race without another tire change. Pierre Dadley's done a great job getting back up into that 3rd position, and Pastor Maldonado is in 4th with Harrison Andrews right behind him. Castile Angelic in 6th with Randall Devil on the prowl, opting for those soft tires after 2 sets of hards, with Alex Albon right behind, as they will be back and forth for that 7th position. Tess Simmer opting for fresh mediums instead of softs, taking the tire change early. We'll have 7 laps remaining. As Xavi and him are neck and neck for first. In the top 10, that's pretty much it, as there actually is a battle for that 9th and 10th spot with Mamma Mia, Bobby Brooks, and Alex Burkhart all being right next to each other. Mamma Mia has taken a significant amount of damage. I'm curious how that happened. And we'll have to hope that they go in for some fresh tires, and we'll catch back up to Burkhart and Albon. I'm not sure they will, though, as they are all on fresh tires. Harrison Andrews opting for a pit, as well as Pierre Dadley, switching to a set of softs, and Randall Devil as well switching to a fresh set of softs. This is what I expected Tess Simmer to do. But Ferrari, Zavi milking these hard tires for all they're worth. Tessemer will pass Zavi finally right after as we start the 31st lap. And Mamma Mia is careened Zavi into the grass. Mamma Mia has a lot to race for still, as they are still in striking distance of Burkhart and Distreet. Although it looks like they've been designated to give Zavi some grief. Sorry, it's just kind of funny how Mamma Mia has killed all potential for Zavi. Like, it sucks for Zavi, but it's just a pain in the butt. Tessemer is has a comfortable lead of 5 seconds over Zavi Venegas, and Pastor Maldonado is sitting in third place, still trying to hold off Harrison Andrews. Tessemer will be your winner in Australia. Zavi will take the silver, and Pastor will take third. Harrison Andrews actually makes me eat my words and takes third, and Pastor will take fourth. Castile Angelic takes fifth. Pierre Dadley will take sixth, and Randall Devil seventh. Alex Albano in eighth. Bobby Brooks and Tessemer. Actually, Bobby Brooks will take 10th. I was about to say Tessemer almost caught back up to 10th place. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, fastest lap goes to Tessemer. Solid day of racing. Congratulations to all people who were successful. A lot of racing still to go in this season, so I fully expect a lot of changes, especially with our consistency heavy early season schedule. We'll finally get to see variation with momentum and focus, so I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for hanging out for race day 4. I believe race day 5 will either be tomorrow or Thursday. Thanks for chilling. Catch you next time.